I got the chance to work with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. So I wrote poetries and stories for him. So and that is one that
Wow.
so
And that takes a lot of
working with
space.
Amit, yeah. I haven't still added it to my profile, but I would. Hi Ayush,
Hi Dhruv, how are you?
I'm good.
So let's get started.
Yeah, sure.
So, hello everyone. Today on the sets of JobberWacky, we have an exceptionally talented person who works at the most famous and my personally favorite Red radio station, Red 93.5 Red FM. He's a conceptualizer and content producer of the Red podcast and web radio Red Indies. He's a script writer and producer for 6 shows, including Sanskari Sex, Storia, Indian Murder Mystery, India Classified, Cricket Surf Cricket, and Sunheri Soch. So please help me in welcoming one and only Dhruv Lau. It's so good to have you
Thank
on the
you.
show.
Thanks Ayush. I'm humbled.
So Dhruv, as you started with your journey in college, you did bachelor's in uh, electronics and physical sciences, and now you're a radio writer and producer. So, like, what led to this change of career? And in how in Indian society there's so much emphasis laid on conventional careers and conventional jobs. So, what made you to take this leap of faith?
It was not more about leap of faith. It was more about that is what I can do. So BSc electronics was something I did my 10 plus 2, and then I had some aspirations. Of my own. I wanted to get into the defense. I wanted to get into. Try and get into the forces. So I picked up the science side because the chances increase when you pick up the science side. Writing was never on the cards till I began writing in my college. So there were these AdMat competitions, in which you get to write scripts, and you perform a show. If you win it, you get some money. So me and my friend Abhishek, we used to visit a lot to these competitions in colleges. So from there on, we used to, him and me, me and my friend, we used to do theater a lot in school also. But समथिंग ऑफ that वो कीड़ा जो होता है कि हाँ कुछ एक्टिंग करना है, like we'll go to colleges, we'll meet people, things like that. So we continued it, and it was really a learnful experience. From there on I got interested in doing advertising. So advertising was something which I can do. It's a small frame of visual or audio that you have, in which you have to do the storytelling and get the consumer to be convinced that the product should be bought. So that whole concept of getting the consumer to buy something through a story, so that was something that really challenged me, and something that I wanted to pursue. Plus, to be very honest, I never knew that what kind of revenue or what kind of salaries we'd be looking at, because that was something I never thought about. Because in college, we used to get okay. I'm not a big spender, so we used to get a lot of money from these competitions, advert competitions. It continued, and from there on, I decided, okay, let's give it a hand at writing, because I used to write rhymes and poems and sort of stuff. So I used to do it on my own. So from there on, I thought that okay, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. After my college got over, I had won like 50 odd competitions in AdMan, and we really loved doing it. Uh, what 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 caught my interest at the first into this writing field was there was an internship of United Nations. So United Nations was taking in internships for content writing, for a lot of stuff. So I volunteered for that, and I got selected. I got there was a NGO in South Africa, Urunji Child Care.
Right.
So they gave me an opportunity to write for them, and I was writing. From across the border for a website or people I don't know about, and I said that okay, if I can do it for one, I can do it for many.
Right.
So I began freelancing. Began writing theater scripts. I was doing a lot of theater at that time. I did 6 national level productions, and I won a best actor award too. And so like I was totally into the creative zone, totally into the creative field. Never thought about that this could become a profession, or this could become the. Writing would be something that would become such an integral part of my life. I'll be doing it day in and day out. For the first job, to be very honest, I went in with the motivation that okay, I want to write my own novel, which I have not written till date, but because I haven't been able to pick up a topic as of yet. But the first job I got was content writing. It was Saffron Tech in it was in Saket, I guess. Yes, Saket.
Yeah.
So quite a learnful experience. I was writing for 80 odd websites in Miami. So
Wow,
writing was
that's
something that I was doing day in and day out. Even after I was back from work, I used to write articles. Even if I was traveling, I used to write. So writing was something that was like breathing to me.
wow.
Uh, I continued it. I continued. I didn't know where it was leading me. I had no idea for the first 6 months where it was leading me. But I keep on getting ideas that yes, this can be improved. This can be scaled in a way that it would become it can become big, because I used to understand the marketing logic behind producing content. So there is nobody who would be interested in telling you 5 tips to use a soap that would make your skin glow. So
Right.
nobody's interested unless he's a close relative. You are sitting by the chai and having conversation which completely dissolves all the discussion that is important to the world. You're not discussing who the next laureate is. You're discussing about the soaps or the basin that would
Right.
make your skin glow. uh, and what would a stranger would have in them to discuss it with you? It's only because they want to sell a product. They want to either
Right.
sell an information. They want you to believe in some idea. They want you to back an idea. They want you to believe in them.
Right.
So that is all. That is, I think, that is what always came to my mind, that yes, it is about scaling the business every time. So that is something that led me to, yes, it can become really big, which led me to joining into script writing, joining into copywriting, doing writing films and all. So yeah, so the first motivation, BSc electronics was something that became just a, eligibility degree for
Right.
joining job. But it never helped me at in a broader scale of things. But yes, the experience that I had in college, the experience that I had while I was pursuing my degree, was something that really got me, into the zone of writing, into the zone of creating more, into the zone of doing something that people haven't heard of. In the
Right.
first few days, in the first few months of my job, I used to explain people what my total job was all about, because that was something. But content writing now, it is very common. But
Right.
back in 2014, 15, people used to still wonder what is content writing. So yes, so I always knew that yes, it could lead to a bigger revenue in terms of career. It would give me returns once we, because I had seen the money, the kind of money the companies pull in from clients. I had seen the money, but how to get it pulled in, how to work out the whole spectrum of it, that was something I needed to learn at that time.
And like it's really interesting that you were into this creative space. And I've watched your poetries on YouTube. They're just amazing. One
Thank
poetry about your "Mera Bully Mera Budget." Right.
मेरा बजट
I
मेरा
think,
बोले right.
yeah, that was like a really cool poetry. Like that made me laugh at every single point. And and even I have written like poetry once, and I know like, and you do it like for like you've done a lot of poetries, and I know like there goes a lot of creative potential in writing poetry. And this
Thank
is
you.
not something that everyone can do easily. And like there goes a creative potential, and there's a need for artists like you to be like paid well and respected, right? and it's just not something we do for entertainment, right? So your job, you enjoy your job very much, right? And I'm sure it looks pretty cool. So what do you think, like how a day in Dhruv's life look like, and what all work do you do?
A day in my life looks like random. It's very random. It's I mean at once I reach the office, the first 2 hours can be spent in what what idea should be cracked. Not that what we crack an idea. What idea should be cracked to get the script a new perspective, a new face. Because I'm the kind of guy who gets bored easily. I said this while I was being interviewed at Red FM. So I said that I get bored with my employer. She asked me that what is your biggest weakness? I said that I get bored easily. That is my biggest weakness. I get bored easily. I think it happens with a lot of creative people. It happens with a lot of people of our age. But I think I get bored very easily. And when I say that, I mean that I need fresher perspectives. I tried my hand at stand-up comedy. So stand-up comedy works like you pick a script, you build first 5 minutes, you perfect it by performing day in and day out about in and around the town wherever you get open mics or if you get shows. So that is how that stand-up comedy works. You take one script, the same set of jokes have to be repeated everywhere.
Right.
So I did stand-up comedy on 7 or 8 odd occasions, and on all the occasions my content was different. I had a different script for every occasion because I could write that much. But that was a pitfall because writing a lot in comedy helps, but you have to stick to the jokes. You have to make the previous joke more perfect than the other. So writing day in and day out helps, but while I'm at job, I'm working. The first thing is to crack a concept for a script. The shows are already planned. For example, Indian Murder Mystery. If I talk about Indian Murder Mystery, is all about the famous crimes that have happened in India. So it covers all that. But still, it needs a perspective. So, for example, there's a case from you say there's a case of about a serial killer. There
Right.
was a stone man killer in Gujarat who surfaced. So it has a perspective to it that he was suffering from a psychological disorder. So that perspective needs to come out to the audience, and doing it in audio is a bigger challenge because people still would go and people would a lot of things can be conveyed through visuals, which
Right.
audio does not give you the option. So right now, if I mean, the user can be doing anything while listening to audio.
Right.
They can be worried about their office. They can be worried about everything. They can be enjoying a company of a friend. How to make the, if it's visual, you can both enjoy. And it's a visual is a quite a powerful medium, as we all know. But
Mhm.
with the, kind of attention span that these short videos have created, it becomes really difficult. So the script has to be molded in a form of in a conversational manner, but yet providing all the information necessary for the case. So it's a tough task initially, but once you get used to it, got to play with it. That is what I feel, that you got to play with the mind of the user, the mind of your audience. I refer to them as user because they use your content to, derive something out of it. So that is what I practice also. But
Mhm.
having said that, that it takes a lot of hard work. I would say that there's a lot of natural talent which comes into place in understanding the audience. For
Mhm.
example, I would know that if Ayush is someone who would be interested much more in knowing about the life of the person and not about the murders, the kind of brutal murders he committed. I would be telling you more about the lifestyle he used to live. For example, he used to talk in front of the mirror. He used to cut down his own hair. He used to go out in public parks and watch people for hours. He would keep 5 mobiles at a time. This is what you would be interested in if you are more of a guy who does not enjoys the brutal side of the crime. People
Right.
might be interested in how the stone crushed the skull, how
Right.
the stone was retrieved, how police uh, got into the investigation, how they solved the murders. So there are different people, different palettes to be taken care of. But yes, I mean, what I do throughout the days, try to get a script on on in place that takes care of the case, and also tries to build a connection with the user, or
Right.
in this case the audience, so that the audience keeps on getting what they want, and still want something new the next time, still get something new the next time they hear it. It should not
Right.
always be the same opening, the same ending, the same kind of TV shows that come along with cliche headlines and cliche topics,
Yeah.
and they mold around people. Yesterday there was a news piece. I just passed by the TV. That is what you do these days. There was a news piece coming in that some shit like dragon ka jahaz ab dragon ki khair nahi, something like that. So it works. That is not bad. That is not bad publicity. That is also that is also good way of communicating content, because the kind of audience we have, they might like it. We might
Right.
for us it might be cringeworthy, but for people, for somebody who is obsessed with news, and they should be getting something new, they should be getting something punchier. That is why we get to see these stupid headlines in TV shows,
Yeah.
stupid news pieces. So I think, they are I won't say that they are entirely at fault. It's the audience also. But our work as writers and as content producers should be to keep the experience as fresh as possible for the audience. So that is what I try to do entirely throughout the day. There's mixing. Once the script is ready, you got to go to the RJs, you got to go to the sound engineers, get them together. We record the shows. We then think about what kind of sound that can be made. Once the shows are done, the full first scratch is ready. We hear it together, and then we try to innovate more in music as well, because music plays a big part while we are doing audio shows. So yeah, it's a lot of collaboration, it's a lot of teamwork, along with, there should be one single idea that should be driving a script, and that point would hook the audience, nothing else. So that is all what we all work around. Everything is a support. RJs, they are the biggest support for us. They are the voice, they are the known, they are the face of the shows, and they they are they are not always free, so there's a lot of chasing up to be done. But
Yeah.
we enjoy the creative space that we are in, and the kind of response that we are getting right now on our podcast and on our shows, it is really humbling to know that people are liking it. In a very short time that we've launched, that we've acquired so much of the market, and so it feels good. It feels really nice when your work goes to the production. And especially a benefit of working in audio is that your production would surface very soon. So for
Right.
example, you are a script writer in a production house. Now
Yeah.
production for a script that is for a visual medium or an ad, it would require hiring of actors, it would require hiring of a set, cameraman, makeup, DOP, uh, extra crew, executive producer, line producer. If it's a studio, then hiring of a studio. There are a lot of commercials involved. There's a
Yeah.
lot of time involved while you're producing visuals. So, but audio is pretty easy. The commercials are very low. You just need a mic, a studio, a sound engineer, and a voice, and a script writer, five people. In visual, you need all five of these plus more. So it's a lot easier to get your work produced via audio than
Right.
via visual.
Right. One thing you said about how you have to cater to different audience needs and demands while you're writing the story. So, like, how do you manage writing for different audiences? Because as we all are like very different in our own personalities, I like something, you like something else, right? And you have to make sure that you are writing a script that caters to audience like on a mass appeal, right? It just don't cater to a particular set of audience. So what's your ideology behind when you're writing scripts? Like, how do you make sure that you're appealing to a wider audience and the audience that you think should be catered to?
See, I've never thought it. From the lens of that it should be. It should be entertaining for everyone who listens to it. So we try to, make it as interesting as possible for us. So every time you cannot go and do a litmus test on how people are reacting to something. So digital, while it gives you the freedom of tracking the audience, there are a lot of variables involved while people are listening to your shows.
Right.
So you have all these statistics that so for example, if I say there's an audio clip which is of 5 minutes of length, we get a report that 30% of the users closed down the video. Listened it up till 2.5 minutes. So you can figure out that you would try to brainstorm and figure out that something happened between uh, 2 minutes and 2 minutes 30
Seconds.
seconds. In that 30 seconds, something was either boring, something was either cringeworthy, something was either not acceptable by the audience. That there's a huge a huge decline in the number of in the people who are listening to the show. So that is something digital can give you. Now there are a lot of variables for these 30%, that why did these 30% had to quit. It can be because there was poor connectivity in that area. It can be because there was they had some work, they reached their office, maybe that is why they closed it down. It can be, so there, the variables are innumerable.
Right.
So we cannot go and trust what kind of what kind of statistics that we are getting from the digital medium. But yes, at the same time, audience responses that we asked them to write to us, and we've received quite a lot of responses which say that there was a law student who was preparing for his cases, and he mentioned that these cases helped me a lot. They are the research and all, because it's easier to listen to somebody and then do your own research.
Right.
So so that tells us that okay, we are doing it right. We are doing it right. So the audience is is the first indicator that tells us we are doing it right. But even before we get the script to the stage of recording the script, while I'm writing, the script has to be acceptable at least to me.
Yeah.
uh, यानी कि दुनिया में एक इंसान ऐसा हो जिसको स्क्रिप्ट पसंद हो, चाहे वो आप खुद हो.
Right.
Because if even you are not convinced, then it is no point doing it. अगर आप कम
Obviously.
से कम खुश हो, तो it would at least make sense to you. Even if you get thrown out from your job, at least you'll write the script. So that is something I always follow, that okay, if the script is acceptable to me, it must be acceptable to a lot of people. Because let's say what's your age?
I'm 19 currently.
19. There must be there must be at least 10,000 people more like you, at
Right.
least.
More. Yeah. Yeah. Easy
in
more.
the
Yeah.
in the place that you're looking, at least 10,000 people of your age, of the way you think, of the lifestyle that you have, at least 10,000 people
Easily.
in your
Easily.
vicinity. So they must be having the same kind of likes and dislikes there like you. That's
Right.
how algorithms work, even in Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and
Right.
Google, YouTube. So if those 10,000 people, 10,000 is a huge number. 10,000 is a huge number. If
Usually.
10,000 people, if I like it, and there are, if I say there are, say, about 10 lakh people like me in India in total. Okay, who think like that, like I think, who like things that I like, who go to places that I go, who kind of have the same kind of lifestyle that I have. So if it caters to you, if it is acceptable to you, it will be acceptable to them. Now
Right.
your point is to make your uh, work, or your duty is to make it as entertaining as possible and as interesting as possible.
Right.
Storytelling does comes in. Storytelling is an art which is honed over the years. But what I like to believe is that while you are doing your scripting, it has to be broken down into pieces that you can understand and you can very well articulate. Okay, something happened here, then happened here, then happened here, then happened here. If I talk about Indian Mortal Mystery, if I talk about cricket, which is comedy,
Right.
so
Mhm.
comedy has to be relatable to relatable. First of all, comedy has to be relatable. Cricket is
Right.
something that people always, I mean, people always relate in India.
Most of the
Cricket is
people
such a
related
huge
to.
thing.
Yeah.
Most of people relate to. So the jokes are common. You make fun of Inzamam, it is common. You make fun of Shahid Afridi, it is common. You make fun of uh, people from India as well. You make fun of Sunil Gavaskar saying silly things. You make fun of
Yeah.
Krishnamachari Srikant.
Yeah.
So it has to be, first of all, it has to be relatable when you're doing comedy for mass, and then it has to be the timing. Now the timing comes from the jokes. Saurabh and Ronak are doing it. Ronak, I mean, he's the number one right now, and Saurabh, he's a veteran RJ. I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Saurabh Brahmer also. So, and then there's a team that we have. There's the sound engineers that we have. I mean, they're bloody brilliant people. They know how to play with the audience's mind, with the music, with the kind of sound effects that they use, the kind of production that they do. So I would, I mean, their work is also quite offbeat, but yes, they have to be at their toes while, while getting the content on, and while also doing the music that makes the content better. So
Right.
it is, it's collaborative teamwork. Once you write the script, you have to rely on people to deliver it better, and you have to rely on sound engineers to make the production better. And so if everybody's adding to it, it would definitely result in a good product.
That's absolutely amazing. I guess, yeah, that completely answers my question. So, like, if you were to describe your job in a fun one-liner, what would that be? Like, would you describe it?
Right till you die.
Wow, that's very powerful. So,
I mean, and right till you die, full stop, literally, period.
period. That's funny. So, okay, if say if I'm going out of high school and I want to pursue a career as yours, right? Since you had interest in doing writing and content producing, and you gradually build it up. But for me, as I'm like uh, graduating out of high school and I want to enter into the industry that you are in, like, is there a set path that I can follow, or is there a university degree that plays a role? So what does it look like?
See, BJMC, Bachelor of Journalism and Mass Communication, is something that is recommended for the industry.
Mhm.
And it depends. I mean, radio and this media industry takes in people from BJMC, Bachelor of Journalism and Mass Communication. But there's no hard and fast rule. If you know the job, you know the job. There are a lot of engineers, there are a lot of people from uh, different backgrounds. I mean, you would imagine somebody was a medical intern and they came and joined in the radio. So there's, there's no set pattern or set courses for everybody. If you are interested, you will find it. If you are interested in it, you will find it. You will find your own way. What I would recommend is that, okay, BJMC is something that, that's a very fine thing to do, because a lot of RJs that I know, they have done BJMC. There are a lot of RJs who have not done BJMC. So it always plays out, I mean, how you are as a person. If you're interesting as a person, you will definitely be accommodating to the needs of the audience. But if you are somebody who would you are somebody who just wants to go the bookish way, then there is also a bookish way to do it. You'll not be in the media production. You might rise in the ranks. There are also managers who are very important, who have to crack deals. They should know how the industry works, but they should also know the business side of it. There are managers, I mean, because without money nobody is doing it.
Right.
Okay, so that's a brutal truth. Without money, I mean, we do it from interest, from our heart. We put our heart and soul. But yes, without money, I mean, if there's no survivability, there would be no jocks, there would be no radio stations, there will be no media, because media works on revenue.
Right.
And because it takes a lot of time, effort, and a lot of talent to produce what media produces.
Right.
People can judge it, I mean, in 1 second or two. That's I mean, that is what we all do. We can judge a 50 crore movie, we judge a 300 crore movie, and we do things like that. But that doesn't stop the media industry to work. Because but people getting into the media industry, if I would talk about, if somebody was to get into a film school. So
Right.
film school, yes, film school teaches you well, I mean, you can learn from the film school. Then there are people who have not learned from the film school, and they are doing pretty great. There's no hard and fast rule when it comes to creative and media. uh, so I mean, my advice to somebody like you who's just getting out of high school would be, if you want, you can do BJMC. If you find an internship with a good company, go do it. You learn more on the work than in the classes. And but yes, completing your graduation is something that I think is really important. At some point in your life, I mean, nobody's going to ask Bhuvan Bam if he's graduate or not,
Right.
right? Everybody would want to ask, when is the next video coming from?
Yeah.
So you won't ask Tanmay Bhatt what was your marks or percentage. So
Right.
they are also into media, but they have achieved a spot that does not matter that what kind of background they came from. I mean, Tanmay Bhatt could have been an astronaut.
Right.
It won't matter. Gautam Gambhir was a superb cricketer. It does not matter. He's into politics now. He's known for his political statements now.
Right.
So it does not matter. Once you become a face, it does not matter what you've done. And there are prime examples. Once you become a face, it does not matter what your graduation is, or if there was a graduation.
Yeah, like once you start doing something really great, no one asks you what college were you a graduate from and what school did you go to. And that's true
Some
because
people, some people do ask you, but they are politicians. Let's not talk about them.
yeah. Also, like if you're genuinely really interested in the field, you have to develop that kind of curiosity that you said that will take you ahead in your career, right? I mean, like you have to be improving constantly. You just cannot stay the same and expect something better to happen.
Developing curiosity is, I think, I mean, I'm still to figure out a way to develop curiosity. I think curiosity comes from within. I think that is something that comes from within. uh, because you cannot cultivate curiosity because in something that you are not interested in. If you do it, it's a fake interest that you're showing. You're
Right.
just doing it for a purpose. If it might be a purpose of getting more fame, more money, more of everything. The motivation will always be different. If you're interested in money, your mind will always wander into money. Your mind is always wander into projects which would give you more money. You won't wander into projects that you like. So for example, if tomorrow I were to get a call from Netflix, if I were to get a call from Netflix, being very brutally honest, would I not want to go? Of course, I would want to go. But if the project is something that I'm not interested in, or it does not suit my palate, it is not something that I can contribute in, I would still think that should I go or not. Because for me, it really matters that what kind of time I'm putting into the kind of thing I'm creating. If I'm contributing to it, I would feel secure. First of all, I mean, feeling secure while you're doing writing and while you're doing creative stuff is really important. Insecurity always would bring your self confidence down, and self confidence is something that creatives need to have. You must have seen the difference between a good poet and a bad poet. I'm a bad
Yeah.
poet because I have to look at the screen and then recite. Good poets, they would know their lines. I mean, I can't remember half of the stuff I've written. I just remember the headings.
But
So yeah,
like
I
if
mean,
you
I
think
cannot.
if you say that you're a bad poet, I don't know what a good poet looks like then.
A good poet would look like Munawwar Rana. A good poet would look like Ashish Singh. A good poet would look like, I mean, it matters to be a good poet because the difference is I mean, one thing is, I mean, you get to the side of it where you can connect with the audience. Connecting with the audience is easy. Roadies did that. Roadies way back, they did that. MTV
Right.
Roadies. They connected with
Mhm.
the audience. They connected with the youth, and they made it. They made it into a brand that is. I mean, the world knows it. Roadies. But
Right.
the kind of connection still, I would say that in the broader spectrum that uh, the kind of personality Roadies had and the kind of personality it has become now, it has deteriorated over time. So the kind of effort it takes to become a good poet is your own journey, is writing, trying to make things better. What I do most of the time, I mean not always, what I do most of the time is try to make it as commercial as possible, that it is acceptable by a wider range of audience, because that is the need of the hour.
Right.
So I'm doing the people like me are doing the smart thing with their creative energies. Then there are people who are doing it out of their heart. What you do out of your heart will always stay, will always stay. It will stand the test of time. But even in the poem that you mentioned, Mera Budget Mera Bully. So the idea came while I was working on a script for a client. But I mean, like, I am not too happy with what I recited. But yes, it made people laugh. That gives you satisfaction. That's all. Because talking about Amazon is not life. Talking about Zomato is not life. Talking about trips is not life. That is all commercial. I mean, I know what kind of people we are and what kind of things we think. So it
Right.
makes it very easy for us to, manipulate words, do a little wordplay, and make it interesting. That is good. But
Right.
yes, uh, you tell a difference between a good writer and a bad writer by understanding what he has written or what she has written. That would stand the test of time. Because right, if you are writing from your heart, it would definitely. For example, I wrote "A Kamyabi Tu Rootna Mat."
Yeah.
So
I
"A
watched that
Kamyabi Tu
too.
Rootna Mat," so it would stay with you
Right.
while you are struggling. It would always stay with you that it is taking you time, but you love it so much, you love your success so much, that you are asking her to not no, to not to be in a bad mood when you reach there, because you have your plans. It is taking you time, but you have your plans. So that is what differentiates you from being a good poet and a bad poet. If it touches, I mean, Mera Budget Mera Bully is entertaining, but Mac Akame Tu Uthna Mat would be long lasting.
Right. Because your "Ae Kamyabi Rootnamat," it's more like it's written from heart, and it hits the heart of people, right? And we feel deeply connected when we like listen to poetry like these, right? Which like just portrays condition of every human being. Like we all are ambitious and we all crave success, and when
Correct.
you write something from that point of view, and that truly deeply touches the heart of people. Dhruv, you talked about how insecurity can play a role in a creative's life, and how there's so much need of job security in our traditional society. So, like, do you think like a creative job like yours can provide the job stability and the job security that all of us are looking for?
Yes, it can provide. There are a lot of, people who have been into the industry and they have retired from the industry quite well. Uh, another added advantage of being in this side is that uh, you don't retire. So when I say you don't retire, you may retire from your job that you were at since the last 20 years, 25 years, 40 years. It does not matter. But even after 60, you can write, you can draw, you can create designs. If you are, if you are friendly with the technology, and if you are tech savvy, then you can. The process doesn't stop, because uh, the power of a creative guy is an idea, and ideas come in every age and every stage of life.
Right.
On an average, a human mind gets 6,000 ideas every day. So 6,000 ideas every day, and if two of them sell, if you are able to sell two of them, then it's good money.
Yeah.
It's nice. You. There are writers who are writing for Punjab Kesi. There are writers who are writing for the Guardian. There are writers who are writing for the New York Times. There are writers who are writing for the Mumbai Mirror.
Right.
Every one of them is writing. Now, where you do it, how you do it, and how well you do it differentiates the odds. You can be an average writer and still have a good enough income coming in your way from a company that you've been loyal to. You can be an exceptional writer but still struggling between jobs because you're not getting what you want.
Right.
People who are very ambitious, people who are very talented, they suffer much more than people uh, who accept that they are average. Because people who are top notch in their field, they would want to, they would want to scale the heights and
Yeah.
scale every height possible. So that creates unrest, and unrest would not let them settle for something that they think is less than what they should deserve. So
Right.
that creates a problem. But in and all, if I'd say that there's if you once you become rise to the ranks of a senior copywriter or a creative director,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, like, it's good money, in there. But talking about there's a lot of pressure people feel.
Right.
Just a second. So, once you rise to the ranks of senior copywriter and creative director, it's a good pay. You would be easily earning at least between 7 to 10 uh, per annum. I think it's and that's the money that you're doing. If you love the, as I said, you got to love the field that you are in. People crave for being in creative spaces. People would want to avoid Excel sheets. People would want to avoid
Yeah.
making PPTs every day,
Yeah.
and so it does helps in that way, in those terms. And it's everybody but you, everybody but you would appreciate the job that you are in.
Yeah.
That is what plays in the industry. So it's you can be secure. It does not matter. You can be really secure when it comes to the money, but getting into the space of something that if you would imagine a very lavish lifestyle while working as a writer, that is not possible. That is not possible until unless you become Javed Akhtar or Gulzar.
Or you start your own media company, just like uh, uh, Oprah, we can say, right? Like you start do something like against the odds and you
Correct.
become the Oprah of the world, right?
There's a lot of people who want to fill the gas in their own tanks. So there are a lot of people who want to fill the gas in their own tanks because uh, as I said, people who would want to scale heights and they know they can, they would be every day fighting with this thought that they would be fighting at every word. While writing every word, they would be fighting this thought that this word that I'm writing, it can be for my own company, it can be for my own media production house. But there are a lot of commercials involved. If you can do it, nothing like it. If you can do it, if you have the kind of money, experience, or courage to do it, then you can definitely go for it. But uh, a lot of us don't. A lot of us don't do it, and we like to play our part. A lot of us would like to play our part in a very big project and very big assignments, but and wait for the right opportunity to exit.
Right.
Everybody who is into this media industry, and that's an unsaid truth. Everybody into the media and advertising industry wants to become a filmmaker, no matter if they are I mean if they are into this creating this creative zone or not. They want to be a filmmaker because that is the ultimate media production that you can do in your life.
Yeah.
So it's an unsaid truth that every copywriter, every creative director wants to become a film director.
Interesting to know that. I mean, yeah, because like when once you're a creative and like once you're working in a creative industry like yours, like every single day you're just expressing yourself fully, right? It's more of like being yourself every single day, and you get to do the
Right.
things that you truly love and enjoy, right? And so, like, I'm sure that you might have a lot of wonderful moments in your industry, like while working. Like, can you tell us one of your like best moments in your in your working as a creative director or writer, producer? Like one wonderful moment.
There have been there are a lot of moments. I mean, so I tell you two. The
Okay, yeah,
first one
that'll
is
be great.
uh, first one is I was we I got the chance to work with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. So I
Oh,
wrote poetries and stories for him. So and that is one that
wow.
so
And that takes a lot of
working with
space.
Amit. Yeah, I haven't still added it to my profile, but I would. As soon as I get the time, I would. But having said that, that was the moment that I felt okay. So he's doing it.
Wow.
It was a good moment. Um, the second one was before Red FM, I was at Google. So uh, at Google, it was my first week of the joining, and week. There was a Candyman ad that came in, which had to be reconfigured for to suit a better audience because the ad was getting skipped a lot. So I worked on it, gave it an idea that collaborated with the team. We worked on it day in day out, and so we created an example for Google. So YouTube advertising now uses that example to educate people
Wow.
in the so it got featured into their magazines. Every meeting that they have, every workshop that they have, it gets featured that this is what we are trying to achieve. So I did it within my first week of the job, so that gave me a lot of confidence, I would say, to work around everything then what comes across while at Google. But
Hmm.
that is for confidence. As I said, confidence is very important for something that you're doing, because if you back your idea, if you back your idea strong enough, then there is no stopping you. If you can think you can make an idea work, no matter how stupid it is, no matter how stupid it is. You've seen ads, the ads, commercials for ads. You spray it and people, girls would start falling for it.
Yeah,
It does not happen. But you
doesn't
have
happen.
the strength to back your idea, and you have the guts to back your idea. It would become sensational. Now
Right.
it's something. If a girl starts, if a girl would fall when you spray something, you know it is ads,
Mm. Yeah,
right? So that is the power of ideas. That is the power of ideas. So I think ideas is where the power lies, and as long as you have ideas with you, you'll keep getting moments that would bring joy to your work.
I'm sure like your moment with Amitabh Bachchan, that
Never met
was
him. I couldn't meet him, but yeah, it was good to know that whatever I'm writing
is like
was to be
considered by
will be
Amitabh
narrated,
Bachchan. Yeah.
will be narrated, will be
Wow.
narrated, and in one of the stories, I also feature. Okay, yeah, I my voice is there.
Wow, that's so amazing. I'd love to like would you mind sharing after this?
I Yeah, sure.
So, you know how radio industry over the years have changed due to technological advancement. Like we have YouTube, we have so many uh, audio like music streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music and all of that. So, and earlier we used to listen to the radio. Like RJ would play the music and would commentate, right? And all of like we used to listen. We used to sit around the radio and listen to the radio. But things have changed from now, right? So, what do you think are the opportunities that like from like there were opportunities back then? Like how opportunities have changed for people, and how do you think this COVID has changed your industry, and what looks in the future?
Uh, so as you said, radio is evolving. So Red FM is basically, as the CEO puts it, it's not a radio station; it's an audio station. It's an audio company which would do content, which would do music, which would invest in talent, the right talent, and so radio has been innovating. I think there was World Radio Day meet recently in Delhi. So what they were discussing there was, uh, is radio diminishing? Is radio in the scare of being diminished? So it's a classic example that the CEO, Miss Nisha Narayanan, she gave us, that you take a song and you give one song to an OTT, Netflix, Amazon, does not matter, and you give that the another song to a radio station, no matter what, Red FM, Radio Mirchi, 91.1. Uh, you give it to anybody and see who would make it viral. OTTs would give you good content and all, but music, when it comes to music, if your song is playing on the radio, you are there. And if your song is being played and being talked about on the radio, it would feel nice. If your song is being loved, if your song is being discussed on radio, it would reach to masses that you cannot even imagine, because audio has a reach that nobody has. I was working on a project for World Bank
Mm-hmm.
back in 2016, 17. Audio, the kind of reach audio has in India, you would be surprised that uh, there are still towns and cities where radio is the most prominent and most trusted source of news and entertainment.
Wow.
It has changed after Geo came in. It has changed. I won't not disagree from the fact that it has not changed. Otherwise, we won't be having TikTok
Right.
following. But the kind of impact audio has in our country is huge, because we are the people who have, I mean, grown while listening to audio, and it's just about time that audio and podcast makes a comeback,
Mm-hmm.
and it caters to more audiences, and it caters to regional audiences as well. There are a lot of regional podcasts that are coming, so that is a good sign. As far as the industry is concerned, radio is uh, a little, I mean, in the innovation process, but I think it will stand the test of time, and I think I would expect it to stand the test of time also.
Yeah.
But as far as COVID is concerned, COVID has impacted every market. So
Yeah.
as I told you, media depends upon ad revenue. Whatever ads you play between the content is what what you earn.
Generate.
So
Yeah.
ads are the biggest revenue for media. So COVID-19 has not impacted the media industry, because media still stays on. It has to give you new every time. But uh, the kind of investments brands were making earlier, the kind of money brands were investing earlier, that I think may have reduced because of this COVID-19 pressure. I mean, these things will again get normal. So I think right now there is a little pressure. I think the pressure is on everybody right now. I
Right.
mean, people are being, there are mass expulsions from the office. There are offices. I mean, Wipro and TCS, giants like Wipro and TCS are, they are showing that they are incurring losses. So I think that is a big indicator that every industry is in turmoil. But I think this will come out well. I mean, once things get normal, people would definitely get back to the earlier practices. And Red FM, especially Red FM, has partnered with the T Series. So T Series is the biggest, as you know, it's the
Yeah.
biggest YouTube channel,
Yeah.
second
YouTube.
biggest YouTube channel in the world, and the biggest in India. So I think we are at a good spot, I think, as of now. But let's see what comes in tomorrow. I mean, there's no saying. I mean that this would never happen. That would never happen. Anything can
Right.
happen. I mean, one should be ready for what the odds are. And even if I mean, even if radio does gets lost at some point of time in the future, in the next 100 200 years, I think audio would still remain. Audio is kind of a freedom that no station, no other medium of entertainment gives you. You can
Right.
be, I mean, you can be very well cooking while listening to podcasts. So I
Right.
think audio is a really strong medium when it comes to catering to a bigger audience. But yes, we would accept it that visual is something that people would that is a more powerful medium than audio. Visual won't go anywhere. You won't be thrashing down your TV screens once you get addicted to podcasts. You won't do that.
Yeah.
You won't be throwing away your TVs. You won't be throwing away your laptops.
Yeah.
You won't be
Totally.
throwing away your phones once you, oh, these are podcasts. Oh man, these are good. So that is not going to happen. But yes, innovation will always be there. It has been in the TV. It has, I mean, not in Indian TV, but it has been there.
Right.
So innovation would happen, and I think we will just have to wait and see where the tide goes.
I think that's wonderful. So, like every industry is literally going under change, and like so is the radio industry, and eventually will evolve for the better, right?
Right.
And 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 I think uh, just one thing, if you were to like if you were a high school student and you were to give yourself an advice, like looking back, what would you tell yourself,
I
that
would
one thing
say
that
that
you
keep on
knew?
doing what you're doing. It's right.
That's very powerful.
Because there's no. I'm not a big fan of advices. It's something very. I think it's every individual knows what is best for them in their heart.
Right.
They accept it and they not don't accept it. That is a different case. There are strict parents who would tell you, who would dictate what you should be done. But I think in your heart, everybody knows what is right for you.
Yeah.
I know. We don't tend to do it quite a lot. That is something that has to be accepted. That we are humans and we would make mistakes. We would try to avoid working hard. But yes, I think advices don't mean much. So there's no advice for anybody, anyone in my age. If I were a high school student, I would say that keep on doing what you're doing. Someday you'll have
Mhm.
a benefit out of it. Someday you'll get something out of it. Keep on doing what you're doing. One day you'll figure out. Yes, uh, it is what they call life. There
Yeah.
are a lot of people telling you not to take stress, not to take not to get involved into things, not to get yourself distracted. It's all
Mhm.
part of life.
Right.
You won't find anybody who's not who's it's all in the it's all every individual knows what to do. And if I look back to myself, if I were to give myself an advice, it would be just keep on doing whatever you do. That's it.
Yeah, later the dots will like obviously connect. You just don't see in the moment that how the dots are connecting, but like when you look
You could
back you
put it
can
that way. You
easily
could
see.
put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, through like it was
That's
wonderful,
my pleasure.
wonderful talking to you,
Thank
like
you so
all
much.
those insights that you gave. I'm sure like they'll be really helpful to our audience. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.